if you have technology, don't reinvent it, just make it better. The same thing applies for education. If you have AI, don't go against it, use it, make it your ally, make it your friend, and build from then on. It will be tremendous advantage. But
absolutely. And in what Isabella and you said, Sonia, it reminded me of a professor from Wharton School of Business, which said, I'm going to give to my students topics to use AI. I'm going to ask them to use AI, but their homework is to come back and analyze how AI functions and how it serves your needs. So he instead of saying AI should be prohibited from the classrooms, is cheating, he said, use it, force the students to use it, to do their homework, but force the students after that to think about what the AI says. So giving, the human advantage, if you want, over the AI machine.
Exactly. So, even Steve Jobs said that if you have technology, don't reinvent it, just make it better. The same thing applies for education. If you have AI, don't go against it, use it, make it your ally, make it your friend, and build from then on. It will be tremendous advantage. But for some education institutions, it has become like the enemy.
Well, yes, we don't need to go deeper to it, maybe offline, but there is the resistance of introduction of technology, like in any other industry. We see it across industries, we see it across economies, we see it across political systems, right? Which are usually geared into short-term solutions, right? And this is not the short-term solution. We talked about
it is not. But having AI could be looked into different ways, right? It could be considered a way to personalize learning, but also a way to access resources at a much faster speed, which translates into enhanced collaboration, which translates into a more acute or aggressive way to enhancing critical thinking and problem solving. Because AI is a tool, but it's not necessarily going to transform the way that we run business. Even I program robots. I help program not only the robotic technology, but also I help program the change that goes with that to administer the end user acceptance process. And so there is no way that a robot is going to just simply take over the world without having the human interaction. So where do we get busy as humans is the judgment piece, because the robot doesn't have the advanced level of judgment and decision making that we should have as humans. And so why not learn to work with it without necessarily looking at this robotic process and this robotic artifact as the enemy or the potential job killer or the potential job eliminator? But that's how we're looking at things right now. Even from the education standpoint, is being considered a threat. So it's a way to prepare for the future. It's just how we change our perspective about it.
Excellent point. And I'm sure Isabella sees is the same. The matter of perspectives in the time frame, right? We have to go to the future and come back, because we have to imagine the future first. Isabella, you wrote a book. Now it seems prescient, right? It was only a year and a half ago when you wrote your bestseller. Tell us a little bit about, how do you feel about that? What is the future? What does it have in store for us?
I think Sonia just pointed out, I didn't expect the conversation goes in this direction at all. Basically, I'll repeat what Sonia said in a different way. Is what's the role of human beings in front of these technologies and any tech shifts and transformation. I think that's very crucial for us to think about today. And by thinking of that, we'll figure out a way to collaborate with technology instead of fight against it. As Sonia pointed out, I think all these kind of confusions and, fightings and anxieties comes from we don't have a clear picture of where we fit in this, not even future. I think in now, today's age already, we don't see where our value is at versus what's different us from the technology. And that's what got us so anxious about losing our jobs and what we're going to do, if technology can do better than me. Like Sonia says, doesn't have to be a hate-love relationship. If we know where our value is, what's our unique advantage as human beings, and leverage that and take advantage of technologies. So that could be a completely different landscape. Agree, it's all about perspective. And that perspective comes from our self-reflection as a human being. And I don't see we do anything close to, realize that. And that reflects to our previous conversation about educational shifts and about our energy, fossil fuel, how to transform that. It all comes from human. Sonia, I didn't know you even code artificial intelligence. So as a person who does that, I guess what you said weighs much more, to point it out. It depends on human, because one of the main talking points about artificial intelligence is the consciousness, how it's going to surpass our human intelligence and all that. So we really need to get all these kind of things clarified with experts like Sonia and many others. I see it as part of the digital literacy today. It's not just about how to use them. It's to understand what there actually is and much more than just use them.
Correct. It's about adapting to the evolving landscape. And unfortunately, our human nature is very resistant to change. And we are facing two tremendous changes simultaneously. The technology aspect of the transformation, but also the energy aspect. And so, yeah, it's a total different landscape. But as long as we understand our value as human beings into this whole intersection, then we're positioned to be successful, and we are positioning ourselves to embrace the future and embrace the change and embrace the technologies that come with it.
So I think we are coming into a point of discussion where we're looking at the values, looking at ethics, at faith, and spirituality. These traits, this cultural part is still, at least in my experience, completely human. It's our domain, right? And I think we're not spending enough time to evaluate how this transition, how our ethical system, our spirituality can help us to create a more sustainable world. As you said, Sonia, people don't like to change, but I think we have the capabilities to change still. Maybe a pointed question, but how do you think about ethics and faith and spirituality in this transition process?
Well, a lot of ethical values could be compromised with the advancement of technology, and that has always been the case, not just in this industrial revolution, but in many industrial revolutions in the past. In the past, people dealt with, how do we go from one point to another without infringing into someone's ethical values. And today, we are facing the same situation. Some people argue that, okay, eventually, and if we go into the biotechnology space, we're now being able to basically clone an entire human being or clone an entire animal. And so the question is, where does the ethics piece fall into place? Are we now playing God? Are we now dehumanizing the value of a human being, because now we just can simply clone his cells and create a whole human being from scratch or from a lab. Those are ethical questions that play today in the role of technology and advancement. And so I know that as we were brought up, and I'm a boomer, and you are probably a boomer yourself, Manuel. We have a different upbringing. These things were only done by a higher power, and they were only done by God, and intelligence were only created by God. And I still give all that glory to God, because as advanced as we think we are with this whole AI and all this biotech experiments, we are not even able to duplicate a way of how heart works, or a way of how our eye sees. We don't have that magnificent power and that magnificent display of knowledge and wisdom that is only residing within God. We are just attempting to be like a God, but we're not even close to getting there. So yeah, obviously the ethics have to play a role in how we do things. You know, for example, we can create organs right now through, biotech efforts. And so what is the value into society of creating something like this? It's a beautiful thing. Now we don't have to, go buy organs in China, and the traffic trends of the human trafficking trends probably will be diminished because, now they don't have to kill a whole human being to harvest his organs. Now they can reproduce it in a lab. And so the beautiful things happening along with this, and even given more space to the ethical behavior of a scientist with something like artificial intelligence that will help in that process. So, but they definitely, ethics play or should play a role as well as law, because, law has come into place now, and we have to amend all aspects as we move on into this whole fourth industrial revolution inception, but also into the whole energy transformation piece, because even we can now recreate artificial algae that will create fossil fuels. I mean, there is so much that could be good out of this and not necessarily be considered an ethical controversy.
We live in increasingly complex world.
We are. And everything is impacted. I work with the Texas Judicial Council here in Texas, in Austin, Texas. And we are having to discuss this kind of things, So now with AI, who has the ownership of a photo? I can take AI and recreate a complete different case. For example, we are seeing people come into courts, and I'm with the Texas Judicial System Office of Court Administration, right? I'm an advisor there. And so we're looking at people coming into court and fabricating an entire different scenario of an accident that may have happened in the streets, because with AI, you can create just about any scenario. So where does the law stand in a situation like this? Isn't that crazy? I was visiting a Mormon temple in Washington, D.C. This is about 2 years ago, and they were remodeling the entire temple. And they take me to a little corner, and with AI, they had and 3D printing, a combination of AI and 3D printing, they had recreated the temple to exact perfection in a very small size for the architects to observe and analyze and recreate a new future image of this temple. But with that duplication, with that new 3D recreation aided by AI, they were able to capture every single piece of art in that temple. And so the question is, where is the art ownership here? now anybody can recreate a perfect reproduction of Mona Lisa.
Absolutely.
And so what happens then with authorship rights? What happens with the patents that are being written right now? Anybody can duplicate and copy anything, and that is really the ethical concern.
And maybe it's not new, right? I think when we started with photography, who owns the photo? The photographer, the subject, if it's a person or a group of persons, the building owner in the background. I think these problems are maybe not new. They are not only created by advancing technology. In maybe spending 1 minute, but legislation is changing, and I think there are some positive changes from a technology viewpoint, especially in the European Union, where they are starting to apply rules of double materiality for sustainability reporting. So they are starting to focus on being, truthful in the reporting of progress in sustainability. I think there are progress in the legal system as well, but always the legal system is behind. First thing, the court case has to be raised, and then it takes some years to be resolved.
Yeah, but privacy protection right now, they don't even know what to do with that. The judges don't know what to do with that. The lawyers don't know what to do with that, because now data belongs to whom? It's privacy, and it used to be the Privacy and Data Protection Act, and now who they belong to who? Also fairness and bias, right? ChatGPT can be biased,
It is biased.
And so if a lawyer is basing his case on a ChatGPT judgment, it could be totally skewed. It could be skewed. It could be biased, totally biased. It could be unfair.
Well,
because
we talk about biases in ChatGPT and the like, but actually there are the human biases. The machine doesn't have the bias. The machine copies the bias of the humans. We don't like it.
Exactly. So it depends on who is programming this AI machine, right? So
exactly.
Absolutely.
Simple example: screening of resumes. We say that the machine is biased toward, eliminating minorities, eliminating women. But where is the data coming from? The machine didn't make the data.
No.
The machine didn't write the resumes. It's the human.
Exactly. It goes back, Manuel. It goes back to the fact that AI and all these technologies, no matter how we want to put it, they're still human-centric design technologies. They're still human-centric. And so...
Excellent point.
People start thinking, oh, it's just like this technology is evolving along. They just probably think that it's just some type of wild growth out there. No, it's humans creating these designs. So it's human-centric design. Therefore, it carries the bias of humans.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they brought the issue of ethics and religion and faith and spirituality. And the machine doesn't have these properties. The machine can maybe emulate them, copy them, but the machine doesn't have ethics, doesn't have a code of ethics. And there is no perfect code of ethics. So we cannot teach
have a conscience, right?
Yes.
I mean, we could talk about all different levels of artificial intelligence, because there are so many levels of artificial intelligence, but still they don't have human-centric conscience either. And so it's all related to who is behind the programming machine and the programming algorithm.
So, well, I would definitely love to have you play. I know you have a very busy schedule, but we have one last question. I'll turn it to Isabella. And definitely would like to have you come back again. I think we have a lot of threads which you opened today, and definitely, time doesn't allow to serve them right.
Thank you. Thank you, Sonia, for all these genuine sharing you just had about ethical AI and everything, which is very humane to me. And I think the audience would like these kind of authentic conversation as well. And there are many, coming back to our today's topic about sustainability, there are many people are looking to pursue a career or contribute to a more sustainable future. So for those people, what kind of advice would you like to give them?
I talk a lot about change because I'm also an expert in change and design thinking. And I always tell people, embrace the change. Life is about change. And those who embrace change will always be at the top of the game. So number one advice, embrace change because it's happening. It's inevitable. It is part of our existence, and we need to accept that. Once you accept change, then be open-minded about learning about new trends, self-educate, self-improve, proactively seek to obtain knowledge about all these new trends, because that's where the world is going. If we sit and gravitate over rejection, over resistance to change, we're not going anywhere. So I think the number one advice for people is embrace the change, look into what is ahead, have or develop a keen sense of understanding about the new technologies and the new transformations. Don't be open-minded. I'm a very conservative person, and I know the conservative movement in the United States is very close about, renewables and transformation of energy sources. But it's a reality that we have to embrace because it makes sense. Because why not produce cleaner energy when we absolutely can, and the power is within us? So don't you just be tied up to a political trend or a belief. No, embrace the change, because we should inspect everything, we should study everything, and we should retain what is good. And that's exactly what I am doing.
Wonderful.
Excellent. And maybe adding very, very quickly, and thank you, Sonia. Adding very quickly, one way we can look at ChatGPT, it's a librarian. Just ask the librarian what you want to know. Be aware of, bringing the wrong book from the library.
Absolutely.
Right? But
you can end up in the other side of the river if you're reading the wrong book, right?
Knowledge is, one line away from our screens, right? Is that close? And I'll bring again the book by Isabella, because she's really asking a lot of questions in the book. She's seeking answers, and we all have to seek answers. It's the digital mind of tomorrow, actually, and my joke is the digital mind of today. So
I love to read your book, Isabella. Why don't you just tell me where I can purchase one?
Thank you, Sonia. I'll definitely let you know about the book. Thank you so much for your interest. Yeah.
So back to you, Isabella.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you so much, Sonia, again, for your precious advice and everything you've shared today. It's invaluable to our audience. Feel free to take in whatever that benefits you. There's so many takeaways today. I can't even remember all of them, and looking forward to having you back next time. And thank you all to our audience as well for tuning in. Make sure to join us every week for a new episode of AKFI's Actionable ESG Talk series, where you can gain new perspective on how to mitigate risk and create value by integrating ESG and digital transformation. Until next week, goodbye for now. Bye, Manuel. Bye, Sonia.
Bye-bye. Thank you for inviting me over to your program. I enjoyed it.
Thank you for an animated discussion. Thank you.